this is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed human.
It's an Olympics you'll never forget. Prime time in Milan. The moments.
Chloe Kim with the gold medal flex.
The stars.
Ilya Malinin.
Out of this world.
The spectacle from beautiful northern Italy with very special guests every night of the Olympics. Experience the world's biggest show. Prime time in Milan. Tonight, 8/7 Central on NBC and Peacock.
The big game commercials are basically must-see TV. This year, Elf Cosmetics went all out with an absurdly funny telenovela called Melissa. It stars Melissa McCarthy, Nicholas Gonzalez, Itati Cantoral, and Elf Glow Reviver Lip Oil. The Elf Glow Reviver Lip Oil is an ultra-glossy tinted lip oil that nourishes, hydrates, and enhances your lips' natural color.
Watch the full episode of their new Elf novela on soyunbaño.com.
Ever wonder why so many people regain weight after stopping a GLP-1? Up to 40% of the weight lost can come from lean muscle. This weakens the body, slows metabolism, and makes it easier to put the pounds back on, creating a cycle of dependency. Prolon's 5-day fasting-mimicking diet offers a drug-free way to maintain results and support long-term metabolic health. In just 5 days, it activates fasting pathways to burn fat, protect muscle, and rejuvenate cells, all while letting you enjoy real food. Get 15% off plus a $40 bonus gift when you subscribe at prolonlife.com/iHeart. That's prolonlife.com/iHeart.
Over the last couple years, didn't we learn that the folding chair was invented by Black people because of what happened in Alabama?
The Montgomery Brawl.
This Black History Month, the podcast Selective Ignorance with Mandy B unpacks Black history and culture with comedy, clarity, and conversations that shake the status quo. The Crown Act in New York was signed in July of 2019, and that is a bill that was passed to prohibit discrimination based on hairstyles associated with race. To hear this and more, listen to Selective Ignorance with Mandy B from the Black Effect Podcast Network on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
1969. Malcolm and Martin are gone. America is in crisis. And at Morehouse College, the students make their move.
These students, including a young Samuel L. Jackson, locked up the members of the Board of Trustees, including Martin Luther King Sr. It's the true story of protest and rebellion in Black American history that you'll never forget. I'm Hans Charles.
I'm Menelik Lumumba.
Listen to The A Building on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
The Middle is supported by Journalism Funding Partners, a nonprofit organization striving to increase the sustainability of local journalism by building connections between donors and news organizations. More information on how you can support The Middle at listentothemiddle.com. Welcome to The Middle. I'm Jeremy Hobson, along with our house DJ Tolliver. And Tolliver, you know, the nice thing about this show, this hour, is we actually get to hear what made listeners happy this year, but we also get to do some good old-fashioned griping.
Absolutely. You know what? I got some gripes, too. And the list is as long as a CVS receipt.
Oh, right. A CVS receipt.
On and on.
So actually, as you know, we usually take on serious topics each week, but two things are happening since the election, which we're noticing. Number one, no one wants to pay attention to the news anymore. And number two, everyone's afraid to talk about politics. It has actually been extremely difficult to book guests for our serious January shows, but we're going to get there. So it's a relief that this hour we're not talking about politics. We're asking what made you happy this year or what you've had it with. And the reason we're doing that second part is that our guests this hour are the amazing hosts of the hilarious and very popular I've Had It podcast. I've been a big fan for quite a while. Tolliver, before we bring them in and forget to do it, why don't you tell our listeners how they can reach us?
Yeah, you can call us at 8444-MIDDLE. That's 844-464-3353. Or you can write to us at listentothemiddle.com.
And by the way, you get to pick one. What made you happy or what you've had it with? Not both, because one thing our listeners have had it with is callers that go on for too long. So joining us from Oklahoma City, the hosts of I've Had It, Jennifer Welch and Angie Pumps Sullivan. Welcome to you both.
Thank you. Thank you. We're happy to be here.
It's so great to have you. And before we get to the phones, I know that you both like to swear like sailors on your show, but the only guest who has sworn on this show is Katie Couric, who was America's sweetheart, so she got away with it. But I don't know if we can do that for you just yet. But so don't swear. But why do you think your show has resonated so much with so many Americans?
I think that it's a time and space, even before the election or after the election, where everybody's micromanaging one another on the internet. We're all seeing what everybody's doing on the internet, and we're seeing their representative represent them on the internet, and it's exhausting. And Pumps and I like to call them out because we've just had it. There's so much performative adulting, parenting, family gatherings going on, and it's exhausting. We all know it's BS. Am I allowed to say BS?
You can do that. Yeah, you got away with it.
We all know it's BS. And I think that once we started kind of calling it out and talking about our grievances, it kind of resonated.
You know, I have to say, I'm a huge fan of Seinfeld and Curb Your Enthusiasm. And what you do sort of reminds me of the way that they kind of find comedy in all the everyday experiences we have, like double dipping a chip in the dip at a party, or people who abuse the ice cream sampling at ice cream stores. Do you see a similarity, Pumps, in what you're doing and those programs from the past?
Well, that's high praise, because Curb is like our favorite in the whole world.
It's so good.
And I would say that the unique experience about everybody has those same experiences. Everybody feels that experience. But it's also kind of a show about nothing. So in that way, I see it like Seinfeld, but it's fun. And it's it unifies people because everybody pretty much has the same complaints about life in general, because we're all supposed to act a certain way, and it's just impossible. Nobody wants to, and we're kind of tired of it. Like Jennifer said, the micromanaging of each other has got to stop.
Jennifer, I've seen you talk about the fact that you may have a unique perspective on your fellow Americans, in part because you live in what you describe as a purple city in Oklahoma City, and you have to sort of interact with people on both sides of the political aisle.
Yes. You know, if you live in a red state and you are progressive, you are really, really progressive. I mean, I always joke around with our friends that live on the coast in LA or New York, and they like to talk about the degrees of how left somebody is. And they like to complain about their Democratic governors. And I'm like, we have a governor that just bought Trump Bibles and is putting the 10 Commandments up in classrooms. So I love that you all are having that moment and you can talk about the nuances of progressive politics, but we're over here fighting for our lives. And so, you know, it's, I think if you're a blue dot in a red state, for me, it's made me more progressive and it's made me more liberal because I live firsthand and see firsthand how insidious these, right-wing policies are, and once they're implemented, how dangerous and void of critical thinking they are, and it's terrifying. And so it's kind of radicalized me more. Being around conservatives makes me more liberal. Are you able, though, to talk to your neighbors? I mean, you've talked about how you live in a pretty mixed political neighborhood. I'm not so good at that. I have a lot of very progressive friends that share my political ideology with me. Trump made my ability to be neighborly a little more black and white for me. When I have so many friends that are members of the LGBTQ+, I have a lot of friends of color. It's difficult for me to go kumbaya with people whom I see to vote for hate, and I don't want to allow them the permission structure to think that's okay. Now, I'm not outwardly rude to their face. They're just not invited to play tennis or pickleball with me anymore. If I find out you voted for Trump,
pickleball.
Out.
Oh boy,
dismissed. Completely dismissed.
I wonder how many of our listeners are going to call in and say that what made them happy this year was pickleball, or maybe the pickleball court being taken out of their neighborhood. Pumps, before we get started with the calls, why don't you tell us something that you've had it with?
So many things. I was thinking about what I was happy about this year. I got a puppy. So I'm really happy about my puppy, but I have had it with potty training. It's rough stuff. And I went into the office the other day. As you know, Jennifer is an interior designer. Yeah. And I walked in and I was like, I have to get all new carpet. Like, we have to do it today. It was a bad weekend. So I've had it with potty training, and I know I'm a terrible person, but I've had it with all the Christmas music. I'm over it.
Yeah. Yeah, we had a friend staying with us about a week ago and was working from our house and put on Christmas music on the Sonos all day. And I was like, okay, I feel like we're early for this, but I guess we weren't early for it, but just
you guys are all Grinches.
It seemed a little bit much. Anyway, let's go to the phones. Again, we're at 844-4-MIDDLE. That's 844-464-3353. And Yubi is with us from Aurora, Colorado. Yubi, welcome to the Middle. What made you happy this year, or what have you had it with?
Hi, Jeremy. I was happy with having found a child-free community, other women who are progressive and don't or can't or won't have kids like me. And I've had it with Cynthia Erivo's long nails. There, I said it.
Wow. Tell me about the child-free community, though. What does that mean?
Basically, there's a group in our area that's called Babes Without Babies, and it's women in their 30s, 40s, and 50s who have a sense of humor and who don't have kids or can't have kids or don't want to have kids. And so we get together and do like crafting on Sundays at a coffee shop or meet up at a brewery after work. And it's been really nice to meet people that way and to, I don't know, bond with other ladies so I don't have to talk about children.
Right before Christmas. Yubi, thank you very much for that.
I didn't think Cynthia was going to catch strays today.
What have you heard of these child-free communities, either of you?
I haven't, but I think it's the most brilliant thing I've ever heard in my life, because people with kids, all they want to talk about is their kids. So I think that is fantastic.
And I also want to say that I love that women are doing that, because we've discovered that there's so much pressure on women. There was pressure on us to, when are you going to get married? When are you going to have kids? And that's just the projected expectation of the life route that you have to take. And we both have kids that are young adults. And I just no longer project that onto my kids. I don't use leading statements like when you get married or when you have kids, because I don't want to project that onto them. I don't want to project what I think they should do or what society thinks they should do on them. And I think that these childless communities, I think that's great, because you don't have to have kids. They're expensive. They're a lot of work. I mean, they prevented me from doing a lot of things that I want to do. I'm just kidding. I love my children.
Are they listening right now?
They're wonderful, but it's a lot. It's not for everybody.
Let's go to Bob, who's in Wake Forest, North Carolina. Bob, welcome to the Middle. Go ahead.
Hey, I think in spite of all the stuff that my wife went through medically, I'm grateful that she's handling it well and that she's just happy to be alive, and that she can share time with me and our grandkids. I guess I've just been really, through all the stuff that we've been through, that we're still doing well and we're uplifted. I guess I'm happy about that.
Yeah, family obviously it was at the heart of a lot of the calls, Tolliver, that we got last year at this time, and people called in and said they were happy, even that they were able to go to a funeral of a family member that had been with them for a long time. Bob, thank you so much for calling, and I want to remind our listeners you can reach us at 844-4-MIDDLE. That is 844-464-3353. You can also go to listentothemiddle.com. Tolliver, I want to bring you in to do something that Angie and Jennifer do on their show, which is that they read hate mail. So we actually had Tolliver find some hate mail about our show, which, our listeners, I know everybody thinks everybody just loves everything about them, but not everybody. Tolliver.
I had some hate mail myself last week, if you recall. This one comes to us from Ray in Tallahassee, Florida. He says, I've had the displeasure of listening to your show twice at this point. The first was right after the 2024 presidential elections, and got to hear your panel. Your own promo states that this is a place to meet in the middle. But honestly, from the 2 episodes that I've heard, you're hardly meeting in the middle. You'd be better off naming the show the same old crap that NPR usually does.
Wow.
Thanks, Ray.
Thank you, Ray.
Happy holidays.
Yeah, that's really nice. Well, a reminder, The Middle is available as a podcast in partnership with iHeart Podcasts on the iHeart app or wherever you listen to podcasts. And we'll be right back with more of The Middle.
It's an Olympics you'll never forget. Prime time in Milan. The moments.
Chloe Kim with the gold medal flex.
The stars.
Ilya Malinin.
Out of this world.
The spectacle from beautiful northern Italy with very special guests every night of the Olympics. Experience the world's biggest show. Prime time in Milan, tonight 8/7 Central on NBC and Peacock.
Welcome to the A Building. I'm Hans Charles.
I'm Menelik Lumumba. It's 1969. Malcolm X and Martin Luther King Jr. had both been assassinated, and Black America was at a breaking point. Rioting and protests broke out on an unprecedented scale.
In Atlanta, Georgia, at Martin's alma mater, Morehouse College, the students had their own protest. It featured two prominent figures in Black history, Martin Luther King Sr. and a young student, Samuel L. Jackson.
To be in what we really thought was a revolution. I mean, people were dying.
1968, the murder of Dr. King, which traumatized everyone.
The FBI had a role in the murder of a Black Panther leader in Chicago.
This story is about protest. It echoes in today's world far more than it should, and it will blow your mind.
Listen to the A Building on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
This is Ryder Strong, and I have a new podcast called The Red Weather.
It was many and many a year ago in a kingdom by the sea.
In 1995, my neighbor, Anna Trainer, disappeared from a commune.
It was hard to wrap your head around. It was nature and trees and praying and drugs.
So no, I am not your guru.
And back then, I lied to my parents, I lied to police, I lied to everybody.
There were years, Ryder, where I could not say your name.
I've decided to go back to my hometown in Northern California, interview my friends, family, talk to police, journalists, whomever I can, to try to find out what actually happened.
Isn't it a little bit weird that they obsess over hippies in the woods and not the obvious boyfriend?
They have had this case for 30 years.
I'll teach you sons of to come around here and my wife. Boom, boom.
This is The Red Weather. Listen to The Red Weather on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
I actually drop better when I'm high. It heightens my senses, calms me down. If anything, I'm more careful. Honestly, it just helps me focus.
That's probably what the driver who killed a 4-year-old told himself. And now he's in prison. You see, no matter what you tell yourself, if you feel different, you drive different. So if you're high, just don't drive. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Segregation in the day, integration at night.
When segregation was the law, one mysterious Black club owner had his own rules.
We didn't worry about what went on outside. It was like stepping in another world.
Inside Charlie's Place, Black and white people danced together. But not everyone was happy about it.
You saw the KKK?
Yeah, they was dressed up in their uniform.
The KKK set out to raid Charlie, take him away from here.
Charlie was an example of power. They had to crush him.
From Atlas Obscura, Rococo Punch, and Visit Myrtle Beach comes Charlie's Place. A story that was nearly lost to time. Until now. Listen to Charlie's Place on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
This is The Middle. I'm Jeremy Hobson. If you're just tuning in, The Middle is a national call-in show. We're focused on elevating voices from the middle, geographically, politically, and philosophically, or maybe you just want to meet in the middle. This hour, we're asking you, what have you had it with in 2024, and what made you happy? Tolliver, what is the number to call in?
It's 8444-MIDDLE. That's 844-464-3353. You can also write to us at listentothemiddle.com. I want to take a quick second to shout out the dog that watches every show with us, Midas.
Midas.
Shout out to our
Puppy
studio
producer.
dog. We're grateful for him.
Yes. Also, we're streaming on TikTok for the first time ever right now, so tune in there too. I'm joined by Jennifer Welch and Angie Sullivan, hosts of the I've Had It podcast. Before we get back to the phones, how did the two of you meet?
I hired her to decorate my house when I was pregnant with my third child. I just found out I was pregnant. And she was a fabulous designer. I'd seen her work in other people's homes, and I absolutely loved it. And she came in, and I said, I've just got terrible taste. She was like, I know you do, because you have silk flowers on your table, and you have a picture of silk flowers on your wall. And I fell head over heels in love immediately.
Jennifer, you agree with that entire story? Is that all correct?
The silence.
Yes, I mean it was a disaster when I walked in. She was this young, darling attorney, early 30s, and her house looked like an 85-year-old lived in it. And I was just like, this is just not going to work. Like, you desperately need me. And I'm very direct like that, so I'm not for everybody, but she loved it and I loved her, and then we've been friends ever since.
Wait, that's how you met? How'd you get in her house?
This was all in my entryway.
She hired, yeah.
No, I'd seen her work in other homes, and I loved it.
She hired me, yeah. So I went to her house. This took place in her house, this conversation.
What have you had it with, Jennifer, or what made you happy this year?
God, this year was so schizophrenic. It was fun. We got to go to the DNC, and that was amazing. We interviewed Kamala Harris, Barack Obama, 5 governors, all of this stuff that we never, for 2 middle-aged women from Oklahoma City, we never thought we'd be able to do. And then in October, this wonderful young man that had worked for me for 6 years, named Javi, he was shot and killed. And some kids tried to rob him, and he was shot and murdered. And it's just been devastating. It's just devastating when you have somebody in your life that you spend that much time with. And then you think about the larger implications of access to guns. Oh, I'm sorry. Access to guns and gun violence. Oh, God. I'm so sorry, listeners. Access to guns and gun violence and all of those things, and how, I think there was just a school shooting a couple days ago, and we didn't really talk about it anymore. But I think that I've come to the thesis sentence that if you live in America long enough, somebody you love is going to die from gun violence. And that happened to us in October. And it's just really difficult to move on from. And then, of course, the election results were not what we wanted. So, womp womp.
Let's go to Jason, who's in Warsaw, Indiana. Jason, welcome to The Middle. What made you happy this year?
Well, what made me happy this year was the fact that we as a nation were able to persevere another cataclysmic election cycle and not go scorched earth at the end of it. And here we are.
Yeah. And it sounds like you're driving. You're on the way somewhere.
Well, yeah, I was just actually leaving my office. Called in accidentally because of a snafu and thought we were on a different show, but I'm happy to be a part of the conversation. I love the show.
Well, thank you for calling in. I appreciate it. Let me go to Shelley, who's in Antrim, New Hampshire. Shelley, welcome to The Middle. What made you happy, or what have you had it with this year?
I think I've basically had it with our absolute stupidity in using more and more electricity, like with Bitcoin and with AI. It's ridiculous. And the lovely woman who answered the phone asked me if I'm a conservationist, if that's why I'm concerned. I said, no, I'm concerned about survival. I mean, it's going to take one good solar flare, and the electricity will go out, and Bitcoin will get lost, and AI will get totally messed up, and I think people will go berserk.
Interesting. That's a surprise that was one of the ones that came in. I will say, and I don't mean any negativity to our last caller, but this does happen I have had it with people who break the fourth wall and talk about the call screeners that they've already talked to. Obviously, we have people that answer the phones. I'm not just going straight to the live line. By the way, Tolliver, what have you had it with this year?
The McDonald's ice cream machine being out, first of all, a perennial problem. The bus being late, the weather in Chicago. I can go on and on and on.
Yeah.
Taxes, my cats.
I would say that for me, and it is the fact that they're still using the QR codes at the restaurants. Like, could you just make a menu at this point? Do I have to still use my camera and all of that? Let me ask you, Jennifer, what do you say to people who unfollow anyone on their social media who have different views than they do?
Good for you. I mean, here's the thing. Like, I just think that there are certain moral declarations that have been made on the right regarding the dehumanization of other human beings that is unacceptable to some people. And, I can't follow somebody that posts a bunch of MAGA crap. I don't want to see that. And I get to follow whomever I want to. And I feel the same. If somebody doesn't like what I post, unfollow me. Go live your life, spread your wings and fly. Don't follow me. The internet is full of all of these things that you can follow. And so I think the unfollow it needs to be used more.
Let's go to Seth, who is in Barnard, Vermont. Seth, welcome to the middle. Go ahead.
Yeah, hi, good evening to you. Thank you so much for creating a wonderful platform for vocality. I just wanted to relate my concerns for the past year and years prior, and what I recently saw was a very concerning report where apparently between 10 to 20% of those in the human creative world are not being supported as much as they had been in prior years. And relating to that specifically, I, especially in the holiday season that we're in, must suggest that people make an extra effort to support their local creatives and buy art.
Yeah.
Support human intelligence.
Amen.
I got to tell you, in the DJ community, that's higher than 20%.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Exactly. Tara is in Chicago. Tara, welcome to the middle. Go ahead.
Hello. Yes. So 2024 has been a big year for me. I achieved 2 goals. One of them was becoming the executive director of a nonprofit in Chicago. And
Wow.
The other was buying a house in Chicago. Both of those are things that I wasn't ever sure were really going to happen for me and fell into place this year.
Congratulations. What do you think made it possible for you to do those things this year? Was it skill? Was it luck? What did you do?
I think it was a perfect combination of the two. I think the role that I found for myself professionally happened to be just this ideal combination of all of the skills that I'd been acquiring through my career in nonprofit work. I had been in an organization for 15 years that didn't see me as a potential candidate for an executive director role, so I left. I went to one other organization, and then I found this opportunity that really was perfect for me. It blended all my skills, so that was just really incredible. And then at around the same time, my family, we'd been looking for a home in Chicago, and we'd been living in a very small place with 2 children for 12 years, and we found just the perfect fixer-upper, an old home not too far from where we lived, where our kids could still go to the same school. And it was just really all things just kind of aligned this year. So despite all of the terrible things, there were some really great things personally that I'm just very fortunate and grateful for.
That's great. Congratulations. Yeah. Pumps, not everybody can afford a home these days, especially with these interest rates the way they are.
Yeah, it's very uplifting to hear about her new position, moving into a home. And I do think that's one thing with our young adult children, that as you look to their future, are they going to be able to find affordable housing for their families? I mean, it's a huge problem. And unfortunately, I don't know that this administration will address that appropriately. So it might be kicked down the road another 4 years. But I do think
Amazon presents Jeff versus Taco Truck Salsa. Whether it's Verde, Roja, or the orange one. For Jeff, trying any salsa is like playing Russian roulette with a flamethrower. Luckily, Jeff saved with Amazon and stocked up on antacids, ginger tea, and milk. Habanero? More like habanero, yes. Save the everyday with Amazon.
that first-time home buyers and the struggle to find appropriate housing is such a problem for young people, particularly.
Joel is in Monterey, California. Joel, welcome to the middle. What made you happy this year, or what have you had it with?
Yeah, no, I've had a pretty good year. Thank you. I actually called to talk about AI, but I guess there's a mix-up on the broadcast. But I got a new sales job and for an international company out of Sweden, and it's been very very good. The pay is great. The benefits are great. I've never worked for a European company, and it's just been a game changer for me. And yeah, I'm very grateful for the opportunity and what's coming in the future. So yeah, it's been a good year.
That's great.
Political things.
A new job. It's true that the job can really make or break a year. I mean, if you lose your job or if you get a new job, it's a game changer.
Shout out to working at the middle.
Yeah. Right. Jennifer, your thoughts?
Oh, I think that I'm happy for the caller that he's working for a European company. I think that would be fun. I always love to travel to Europe. I've never been to Sweden. I think they kind of have a lot of things figured out, maybe more sustainable systems of economy and government that seem to have a good mixture of the common good. I worry about America because it always seems so focused on individualism and not collectivism. And so, I don't know. I know I'm worried. I know probably a lot of your listeners are worried, but I'm happy for that caller. That would be like really fun to work for an international company like that.
You both brought up politics a bunch. Let me ask you, Pumps, I guess I'll start with you. Why do you think Kamala Harris lost this race after all of that?
I've heard so many different theories on it, whether it was that Biden didn't drop out sooner, we didn't have a robust primary, people didn't know her, things of that nature. My personal belief is that the right-wing media mechanism is so much larger than the Democratic, especially with Elon Musk, with Twitter and the algorithms and the manipulation there. I just think that they have first of all, it pains me to say this, but I think the right has better messaging. They are able to hit people viscerally in ways that nuances of policy don't strike people. But I do think a lot of it is the right-wing media infrastructure that the Democrats just don't have.
But the thing is, you are both communicators. You've obviously tapped into something among your listeners. Is there something that you think that, let's say, the Democrats should be doing to more viscerally connect with people that you see the right doing, but not the left?
Yes.
Go ahead.
I think we need to be more aggressive, more direct. I think that there has been an appeasement from 2016 on where we just treat a lot of the things that Donald Trump and his sycophants do as normal, and we normalize them. I think that Kamala Harris should have not trotted around with Liz Cheney. Liz Cheney is on the record for creating so much of these right-wing conspiracy theories that got us here. And then we have to parade her around and say, oh, look, we found a Republican that supports us. This is a woman that perpetuated the lie that physicians execute babies after they're born. And it's just, she was a part of the problem. She was a part of the hysteria that feeds into all of this. And I think the Democrats need to go left. They need to have a very Bernie Sanders, AOC populist agenda. When you poll people in our state, in a deeply red state, on gun control, on raising the minimum wage, on abortion, on gay marriage, they're to the left on all of these issues individually, but they vote Republican. And I don't think the Democrats do a good enough message saying, if you want to look at what Republican policies look like, look at the states that are ranked 40th through 50th in the United States of America. Look at them and look at the Republican supermajorities that all of these states have had. These policies are disasters. And I think they just need to be aggressive. And I think people, good, bad, or indifferent, felt like Donald Trump cut through the BS. Brownie points for saying BS again. I think they felt like he cut through the BS and he fought for them. Whether that's rational or not, I'm not going to get to. I'll leave that up for the psychiatrist to analyze. But the Democrats, people need to feel like they're fighting for them. And I just think when Kamala Harris and Walz were calling Republicans weird and saying they're weirdos, it was working. She was up in the polls. Then they started.
They stopped doing that as soon as Tim Walz became the vice presidential candidate. They stopped. Yeah. They
trotted her out, and that's when I said to Pumps, I go, what is she doing running around with Liz Cheney? Why are we acting like she's a hero? Because she could say that clearly Donald Trump is a criminal, which a 5-year-old could recognize that. I'm just like, why are we doing this? And that's when I started kind of thinking, I don't know about this.
Reminder that you can reach us at 844-4MIDDLE. That is 844-464-3353. Or you can write to us at listentothemiddle.com. And Tolliver, as we go to our next break, do you have any more hate mail for us?
I do. Never ends. This one comes courtesy from Eddie in Hendersonville, Tennessee. He says, I understand that you want to appeal to everyone, but a lot of times I think your program should be renamed to The Meek. Ouch.
The Meek.
The Meekle. It's good to talk and listen, but occasionally you need to take a position and call out lies. I think Dr. Phil McGraw once said, there are only two things in the middle of the road, yellow stripes and dead armadillos.
Dr. Phil, a famous Oklahoman.
Our next
Dr.
guest.
Phil, yeah. And a reminder, The Middle is available as a podcast in partnership with iHeart Podcasts on the iHeart app or wherever you listen to podcasts and wherever you rate podcasts and you give us a high rating on this podcast. We'll be right back with more of The Middle.
It's an Olympics you'll never forget. Prime time in Milan. The moments.
Chloe Kim with the gold medal flex.
The stars.
Ilya Malinin.
Out of this world.
The spectacle from beautiful northern Italy with very special guests every night of the Olympics. Experience the world's biggest show. Prime time in Milan. Tonight, 8/7 Central on NBC and Peacock.
Welcome to the A Building. I'm Hans Charles.
I'm Menelik Lumumba. It's 1969. Malcolm X and Martin Luther King Jr. had both been assassinated, and Black America was at a breaking point. Rioting and protests broke out on an unprecedented scale.
In Atlanta, Georgia, at Martin's alma mater, Morehouse College, the students had their own protest. It featured two prominent figures in Black history, Martin Luther King Sr. and a young student, Samuel L. Jackson.
To be in what we really thought was a revolution. I mean, people were dying.
1968, the murder of Dr. King, which traumatized everyone.
The FBI had a role in the murder of a Black Panther leader in Chicago.
This story is about protest. It echoes in today's world far more than it should, and it will blow your mind.
Listen to the A Building on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
This is Ryder Strong, and I have a new podcast called The Red Weather.
It was many and many a year ago in a kingdom by the sea.
In 1995, my neighbor, Anna Trainer, disappeared from a commune.
It was hard to wrap your head around. It was nature and trees and praying and drugs.
So no, I am not your guru.
And back then, I lied to my parents, I lied to police, I lied to everybody.
There were years, Ryder, where I could not say your name.
I've decided to go back to my hometown in Northern California, interview my friends, family, talk to police, journalists, whomever I can, to try to find out what actually happened.
Isn't it a little bit weird that they obsess over hippies in the woods and not the obvious boyfriend?
They have had this case for 30 years.
I'll teach you sons of to come around here and my wife. Boom, boom.
This is The Red Weather. Listen to The Red Weather on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
I actually drop better when I'm high. It heightens my senses, calms me down. If anything, I'm more careful. Honestly, it just helps me focus.
That's probably what the driver who killed a 4-year-old told himself. And now he's in prison. You see, no matter what you tell yourself, if you feel different, you drive different. So if you're high, just don't drive. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Segregation in the day, integration at night.
When segregation was the law, one mysterious Black club owner had his own rules.
We didn't worry about what went on outside. It was like stepping in another world.
Inside Charlie's Place, Black and white people danced together. But not everyone was happy about it.
You saw the KKK?
Yeah, They was dressed up in their uniform.
The KKK set out to raid Charlie, take him away from here.
Charlie was an example of power. They had to crush him.
From Atlas Obscura, Rococo Punch, and Visit Myrtle Beach comes Charlie's Place, a story that was nearly lost to time. Until now. Listen to Charlie's Place on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
This is The Middle. I'm Jeremy Hobson. This hour, we're asking you, what have you had it with in 2024 or what made you happy? Call us at 844-4MIDDLE. That is 844-464-3353. You can also reach out at listentothemiddle.com. I'm joined by the hosts of the I've Had It podcast, Jennifer Welch and Angie Pumps Sullivan. And before we go back to the phones, let me ask you the question, Jennifer, I'll ask you the question that everybody always asks me, and I find it to be very difficult to answer, but who do you want to interview that you have not?
Oh my gosh, Larry David.
Right?
100%. It's Larry David. I am obsessed with Curb Your Enthusiasm. I've watched every episode 2 or 3 times. I love how cranky he is. I love how cynical he is. I laugh at all of the nuances of it. And I just don't think Larry's ever going to do it. And I'm thinking, that's who I need. And if not Larry David, then I would take Roger Federer.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Pumps, what about you? Who would you like to interview?
I think I'm a huge Dolly Parton fan.
Yes.
And I would like to talk to her and just ask her, like, how does she do it? How does she sustain so much success? And her reading, what's it called? Her reading where she donates books, like 1 million books have been donated to underprivileged communities. I love that.
Yeah.
And her story is inspiring. And I love how she says, it takes a lot of money to look this cheap. It's my favorite.
Yeah. Let's go to Leon, who's in Las Vegas. Leon, what have you had it with this year?
Yeah, just over the years, I've noticed like a growing list of people who are of wealth or fame, like Harvey Weinstein, P. Diddy. And I'm honestly getting kind of concerned at the number of people I'm seeing on the news who've been doing stuff like this. Like once Cosby went down, I knew nothing was sacred. You know what I mean?
Just that famous people are getting in trouble for bad things that they're doing.
Yeah, it's very disheartening because it's like, Cosby was America's dad,
What do you two think about that?
I mean, I'm not going to cuss, Jeremy, but I would say this is where you enter the F around, find out situation. And even, celebrities, the only person who seems to consistently get away with things is the president-elect of the United States, which is just dumbfounding. But, he seems to be able to dodge all of those bullets that other people have been held accountable for.
Let's go to Alana in Tampa. Alana, what have you had it with this year?
I have absolutely had it with people who pretend to be one way on social media, and then you either know them in person and they act a completely different way, or it's an influencer and they come out with an article and they are a bad person. They treat all their employees like crap. I'm just over it. I need people to act like the way they act.
Drag Ellen.
Yeah, Pumps, what do you think about that? There are a lot of people like that. I have friends even that I think, are they trying to be a model on social media, but then I don't see them like this in person?
Yeah, I think that's great. And I think it's so true. When you know people and the things that they post are just so opposite of their personal behavior. And one thing we talk a lot about on the show is these people that we get hate comments, like your hate comments are mild compared to our hate comments. I mean, people come after everything about us. And it's so funny because when you go to look, Jennifer taught me how to do this. You go look like, what's their bio say? And it's always peace, love, and laughter. Jesus is my king. And we're just like, what? How are you being so ugly to people you don't know randomly on the internet, but yet you're, sitting on top of the Bible acting holier than thou. So the posers on social media, it's just too much. And I just will say, my kids and I are going on a vacation over Christmas. And my daughter said to us at dinner last night, I need everybody to get better at taking pictures of me for my Instagram while we're on vacation. And I was just like, so many people in her age group, which she's 22, it's all about the photos for Instagram. And sometimes I feel like people don't enjoy what they're actually doing because they're so worried about getting the perfect picture for Instagram.
Yeah. James is in East Texas. James, welcome to the middle. What made you happy this year?
I was really pleased with just the expanding amount of platforms, NPR, PBS, and a lot of independent creators online who want to hear from actual people. It seems like Fox News, CNN, Newsmax, none of these platforms, I mean, I'm sure you can write into Roger Ailes. I'm sure you can write into Dana Bash. I don't think they look through any of their comments.
Roger Ailes is dead. Just to be clear, Roger Ailes is dead.
Definitely not.
So you can't write into him anymore.
Sorry about that. But no. Platforms like you guys in the middle.
Yes. No, I appreciate the comment. I agree with you that being able to hear from regular people is really important, and it's very rare these days. Let's go to Janice in Chicago. Janice, what made you happy this year, or what have you had it with?
Oh, so mine is actually what I've had it with. I'm really over people telling other people what to do with their bodies. It doesn't bother me if someone who's trans wants to take hormones, someone wants to have an abortion, if someone wants to get vaccinated or doesn't want to. I'm just so over both the left and the right trying to tell other people what to do.
I feel like our guests are going to have a comment about that. Go ahead. Yeah.
I mean, I think that, I agree with the caller, and I feel about, the trans community, you're talking about less than 1% of the population. So these people, smallest numbers, really, really marginalized, very high rates of suicide. And to sit and criticize gender affirming care, number one, it's none of your business. But number two, I mean, isn't it like Joe Rogan, who's pumping up on steroids, and I'm sure he's popping Viagra, and isn't that gender affirming care? I mean, come on. It's like if they would put the science into anything, curing cancer that they put into the erection, we would all be so much healthier. But it seems like when it comes to women or marginalized groups, we're all up in the business. But when it comes to men and their erectile dysfunction, it's game on. We can ship it to you anonymously. There's no restrictions whatsoever. Hell, let's give it out for free. And so I've had it with that.
Put that on.
I agree. I'm in the same camp as the caller. If you don't want to get a vaccine, I think it's crazy because I believe in science, but that's your business. I don't care. And we live in a state with more and more restrictions on what people can do. And it is very disconcerting to live in a country where banning books has become the norm, yet we're not talking about banning guns. And we're more worried about transgender care than we are whether somebody has health care. It's just, I could go on and on about all the hypocrisy, but I'm kind of in the mind your own damn business. Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
I
think
mind your own
D word
business.
is probably, it's 2024. What has kept you both in Oklahoma City, by the way?
Children.
Yeah. You set up your life and you have a job, and then in your 30s, it doesn't really matter where you live because you're living Groundhog Day. You're, getting kids up, and you're like, completely beholden to them going to school. Then you chauffeur them around. And I have one son left that's a senior in high school, and he'll graduate, and then he'll go off to college. My oldest son is a senior at Syracuse University in New York. And so I think that when the youngest one goes off to school, wherever he goes, my only rule is go out of state. That Pumps and I are thinking about moving to, Manhattan for a couple years. I mean, why not? We're still young enough. And so
let's go to Carolyn in Cincinnati. Carolyn, what have you had it with?
I've had it with leggings. I am over leggings. I wish we would bring back denim.
You've had it with leggings.
Yes.
Why do you hate them so much?
Not for everyone, but everyone has adopted them. They're not attractive on everyone.
Because I'm wearing some right now. No. It's weird.
Either of you want to take that one? Do you feel that way about leggings?
I have to agree with the caller that leggings are overused and sometimes they don't look that great. And maybe that's not PC to say, but in Trump's America, can't we just say how we feel? Does everything have to be taken away from us? And I just love how the caller just went straight in with, I've had it with leggings. I mean, I love that. That speaks to me. It's relatable, and I'm going to let her have that. And I think she's 100% right. Some people don't look good in them, and it's unsightly. And it's okay for us to say it. It doesn't mean we're mean. It doesn't mean we're Trumpers. It just means we're human.
Wow. Bring back jeans.
Let's go to Gabriella, who's in Fort Lauderdale. Gabriella, what have you had it with?
Hi, guys. I've had it with two things. The first thing I've had it with is people hiding behind their religion, acting like they're really good people when behind the screen they're hateful, homophobic, racist, but they'll post on social media, Jesus is king, God is good. And I'm like, I know your true colors. The second thing I've had it with is inaccurate bra sizes. Kim Kardashian, you are a billionaire. Get it together, girl. I am not a 32F.
Come on, Skims.
Wow. We're covering leggings,
We're getting a
bras.
lot. At the last second, we're getting some good ones.
Yeah.
I got one of the emails here says, I hate it when people add right at the end of a sentence without waiting for an answer. So
I kind of agree with that.
We're getting real petty.
Yeah.
Right?
Let's check out Lisa, who is in Rockford, Illinois. Lisa, what have you had it with?
I've had it with our increasing impatience on all kinds of fronts, traffic, waiting in line, but now we're down to the dialogue. I hate it that I have to get what I want to say in 3 sentences or less, and the default feeling where people have to debate and have an opinion instead of listen and learn. So
Not enough sort of
improve on
taking time and communicating is what you're saying.
Yes, the communication. We're in too big of a hurry to even communicate back and forth.
Very interesting.
That
yeah.
was like 6 sentences right there.
Well, no, but I'm glad she brought that up. Jennifer, what do you think about that? Do you think we're communicating too quickly?
Yeah, listen, the caller is 100% right. We do need to stop and communicate more. But I'm at the phase in my life where I'm trying to talk to people less. I'm trying to have a conversation using the fewest sentences possible and then tuck and roll out of the situation. I wish I was more like the caller. I wish I was a better person, but I'm the host of a podcast called I've Had It. So there we are.
Okay. Let's do an uplifting one. Tara is in Denver. Tara, what made you happy this year?
What has made me happy this year is women in music. It feels like women are finally getting the stage and the attention that they deserve as musicians, from Taylor Swift to Chappell Roan to Billie Eilish. And it's awesome to see women being able to write music and talk about their sexuality instead of being sexualized. And it's really incredible to see women want to be part of music and kids looking up to them and wanting to be part of music this year. Every person that's up for Artist of the Year is a woman this year, and that is incredible to see. And even though we maybe didn't take the presidency, we are taking music by storm, and I mean just Taylor Swift in general.
Great points all around, and always happy to see Taylor Swift get even more money. No, I think she's great. Brett is in Teutonia, Idaho. Brett, welcome to the middle. What made you happy this year?
Well, what made me happy is seeing the Grateful Dead being appreciated and celebrated with the Kennedy Center honors. A band that was so pivotal in our country, just like the Beatles and the Rolling Stones, that really set and changed the culture of our country at a time that it needed that. But they were a band that came from our country, and it was a band that really heavily affected my life. That's the thing that I really appreciated seeing, because they were a band that a lot of people didn't really seem to understand. But they are a band that, now that we look back, see that they should be appreciated and celebrated like that.
Did you see them this year?
Right. And, I'm sorry?
Did you see them in concert this year?
Not this year. They haven't been playing as the Grateful Dead, truly. But I saw the Grateful Dead with Jerry Garcia and the full regiment of the band for over 100 shows, and toured with them throughout the country. And they were a band that I really appreciate. They showed me my country, right? With my loving of their music and the idea that when you went to a show, you saw a different show from the night before, so that you could see many shows in a row. And if you chose to see many shows in a row, you got to go to Des Moines, Iowa. And
grateful for the Grateful Dead.
If Taylor Swift and Grateful Dead go on tour together, I'll be there.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm seated for that.
Okay, we actually are running out of time, amazingly, for this hour. But let me ask you both a question, which you're both, as we've said, in Oklahoma City. What do you think is the thing that people on the coast in this country don't understand about people in the middle of the country? I'll start with you, Pumps.
I think that what I have found when I go to the coast is the culture difference with the evangelical Christianity, how deeply rooted religion is in everyday decisions, whether it be political, children raising, all kinds of things. So I think there's kind of the foothold that religion has in these deeply red states in the South. I don't think people on the coast appreciate what a different culture it is here.
Jennifer?
I completely agree with her. I kind of had an interesting upbringing. My parents are total atheists. And so I grew up in the buckle of the Bible Belt around a bunch of just diehard evangelical Christians that were constantly trying to save me and warning me about the torture that awaits me in hell with demons and Satan himself. And I was able to persevere through all of that and still remain completely secular. And I don't think politicians in general understand how much religion has set the psychological soil for people to turn away from critical thinking and to accept magical thinking, both in their faith and in politics. And so when you look at what Trump does with all the magical thinking, their religion brought them to that.
Yeah. That is Jennifer Welch. We've also been speaking with Angie Pump Sullivan. They are the hosts of the I've Had It podcast. Thank you so much to both of you for joining us on The Middle.
Thank you for having us. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays to you too. And thanks to our satellite radio listeners, our podcast audience, and the more than 420 public radio stations making it possible for people across the country to listen to The Middle. I'm Jeremy Hobson, and I will talk to you next week.
Over the last couple years, didn't we learn that the folding chair was invented by Black people because of what happened in Alabama?
The Montgomery Brawl.
This Black History Month, the podcast Selective Ignorance with Mandy B unpacks Black history and culture with comedy, clarity, and conversations that shake the status quo. The Crown Act in New York was signed in July of 2019, and that is a bill that was passed to prohibit discrimination based on hairstyles associated with race. To hear this and more, listen to Selective Ignorance with Mandy B from the Black Effect Podcast Network on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
1969, Malcolm and Martin are gone. America is in crisis. And at Morehouse College, the students make their move.
These students, including a young Samuel L. Jackson, locked up the members of the Board of Trustees, including Martin Luther King Sr. It's the true story of protest and rebellion in Black American history that you'll never forget. I'm Hans Charles.
I'm Menelik Lumumba.
Listen to The A Building on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
14 years in prison for killing a young woman. A 15-year sentence for a crash that caused 3 deaths. 12 and a half years for killing a child and critically injuring her mother. All true stories, all caused by marijuana-impaired drivers. No matter what you tell yourself, if you feel different, you drive different. So, if you're high, just don't drive. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
When segregation was a law, one mysterious Black club owner, Charlie Fitzgerald, had his own rules.
Segregation in the day, integration at night.
It was like stepping in another world.
Was he a businessman, a criminal, a hero?
Charlie was an example of power. They had to crush him.
Charlie's Place, from Atlas Obscura and Visit Myrtle Beach. Listen to Charlie's Place on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
This is Ryder Strong, and I have a new podcast called The Red Weather. In 1995, my neighbor, Anna Trainer, disappeared from a commune.
It was nature and trees and praying and drugs.
So no, I am not your guru.
And back then, I lied to everybody.
They have had this case for 30 years.
I'm going back to my hometown to uncover the truth. Listen to The Red Weather on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
This is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed Human.